heed the master's call. I've heard them sing the modern songs and songs of long ago. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. No sweeter song, sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound is the sweetest song I know. It was the song my mother sang in sweet and humble voice. Like music from the world above, it made my soul rejoice. Its soothing words and melodies like the rippling waters flow. But amazing grace of...
Out, you put it on your fridge, in your bedroom, and then you tell your children nice things. Girl, you're so intelligent. What you said, and you make sure that...
I want to tell you, and sometimes they come to tell you. I remember Shanika, when Shanika, my daughter, was small. Imaginary friend, I can't ever remember this friend, but she had this imaginary friend, and she and this imaginary friend would have all these conversations. And whenever she came inside, she always had these, and when I tell you long stories, I mean, you sit there and you listen to these stories that Shanika's tell. I mean, you got things to do, but I didn't always do it. I didn't always get it right. There were times I said, Shanika, I really can't sit and listen to you right now. However, I tried as much as possible to sit and listen to Shanika. And a lot of times she came, she said what at school. Sometimes she had these, as I said, these discussions with her imaginary friend. She had a name for the imaginary friend. So the thing is, we got to remember, yes, we're going to be busy, and we got to remember that the children always have something important to tell us. No matter how small it may be, it's always important, you know, to stop whatever to listen to the children.
Correct. And so, some greetings. Paul is say, Paul, he say he's listening to us from...
He's listening to us from Church
From
View
the Church View
Hotel. Guy Metro Medical Mission in the USA. Hi, Paul. We want to say hi to...
Grooming, all right? And there are emotional groomers out there. Some of the keys, the key element to emotional grooming is a false sense of trust. A false sense of trust. Where the groomer convinces the victim that he or she is the only person who can be trusted. Now stay with me. If you beat your children abusively, if you shout at your children, you speak to them in negative ways, you yell at them, you don't respect their privacy, you always bashing them, then it breaks the child. And the child is emotionally weak. And the child now becomes susceptible to emotional grooming. So somebody comes to that child now and tells that child, look, you know, you can trust me. You know, don't mind your mother and your father. You see how they're always beating up on you and cussing you and they don't have no, you know, but you can trust me. Emotional groomers. I want to say this, and I might say it as we go on, that when we talk about abuse and we talk about giving the children their space and their boundaries, a lot of parents say, well, look, Pastor Jeffrey is a child and they live in my house and they got to do what I say and you know, I always right, and they're ready to justify why they should abuse their children. And what I have come to realize is that those parents were abused themselves. Parents who were abused their children. And so what you're doing when you justify your abuse of the child is that you are perpetuating this vicious cycle. You parent beat you, my mother beat me and me and dad, my father beat me and me and dad, they shout at me, they tell me and I still grow up to be what? Grow up to be what? Because I ask parents that, and I really challenge parents when I get one-on-one with these discussions. Grow up to be what? Who are you? And who tell you that whatever you're doing now, you could not have been farther ahead if you weren't abused as a child? So when you abuse the children, you make the children susceptible to these emotional groomers who come along. Another element of grooming is what, Sister Jeffrey?
Secrecy.
Secrecy. Emotional groomers. Not only do they tell your children that the one who could be trusted, but they also tell your children, you know, keep a little secret.
Yeah, yeah.
Celia and I were making a call. We went to one of these internet cafes just outside of Albany. A few months ago, this must have been, maybe a year or so ago. And while Celia was in the arrangement phone to call her mom in the States, I was outside on the road, outside of the road, and I was waiting. And I heard there were two young ladies, and one of them was singing to the top of her voice this song, "Nobody Have to Know That You and Me a Talk," or whatever. But I did not know that the song had a clean version. I found that out after. This young lady was singing the song in the rawest possible version. "Nobody have to know that you and me are," and she going on the road. And I said to myself, when I began to do these presentations, that this is what emotional groomers do. They abuse your children and then tell your children, no, nobody have to know. This is our little secret. So you are abusing your children at home, breaking their spirit, and now your children go to school and they go out, and nasty people out there are doing and promising and setting your children up to do them all kinds of nastiness because you as a parent have broken your children. You as a parent, okay, have abused your children and you've made them susceptible to these emotional groomers out there. And so they're telling your children, you could trust me, don't mind your mother. It's our little secret, and they got your boys, the little boys, and they're abusing them. And the abuse started with you as the parent.
And the thing is that because the children are not feeling as though home is where the place that I feel comfortable.
Correct.
Especially if you see they go in an environment and that environment is way better than the environment at home.
Right.
I remember as we were growing up, they had children who would rather be on the street. And when I say on the street, not living on the street. They came home from school, and instead of being in the house with the members who were there, they preferred to come outside. So they only went back in the house, as they say, when the traffic light, when the street lights came on. And when you heard them talk, you understood that the environment in the house, they would not say exactly what was going on in the house, but you could tell that they were not comfortable being in the house. No, I don't know what, happened in the house. I don't know, but I know as you talking, I'm telling myself, no, if they got into a situation where they found some place more comfortable, even though it might have been detrimental to them,
correct,
they would have preferred to be in that loving, comfortable environment, because that's how they start. These groomers start by making you feel comfortable. They make sure that you're fed if you're hungry.
Correct.
If you need shoes, if whatever it is you need, they make sure that these groomers make sure you get them, because what they're trying to make sure is that when they say you can trust me, you can trust them. When they say, girl, boy, you got to keep this little secret, because it doesn't even start with the bad thing. It starts by giving you a gift.
Correct.
And you don't got to tell mommy I bought this pencil for you.
Correct.
You don't got to tell mommy that I did this for you. You don't have to tell.
And because as a parent, you don't create the environment for the children to come talk to you. You always shush and you don't want to talk and don't tell me nothing. So the child can't communicate. The child can't come and tell you these things. You see, you're not creating the environment. a mixture of hostility and denial the child feels. And so the child can't talk to you. So the people out there who want to hurt your children are mimicking your behavior and then contrasting it. So they either mimic it or they mimic it. They mimic it by abusing the children. We're going to get to that. And so you abuse the children, you shout at your children, and you physically abuse your children, and you tell them you're doing that because you love them. Well, if you beat me, if you're beating me and slapping me about and kicking me and bouncing my head into the wall, and then you say, I only do this because I love you, then when a man is doing that to your little daughter out there, he beating her up and he telling her the same thing. Baby girl, I only doing this to you because I love you. And in her mind, she's confused because mommy just tell me the same thing and daddy's tell me the same thing. So they mix up. All right? So another one that the groomers use is status. A nice car, motorcycle, you know, status. They got a big job. And they use status to emotionally groom your children. They use intimidation. Right? The same thing that you're using at home, yelling at the children, beating the children, intimidating the children. Well, the groomers do the same thing. They intimidate your boys and girls out. They make them scared.
You know what? Talk about intimidation. Sometimes the intimidation doesn't have to be a forceful one. It can be a very subtle one. It doesn't have to be a shouting and a screaming and a hollering. It can be very, very subtle where they
a grab.
Yes.
Yeah, a storm, grab and stuff.
Or something like that. So that they get the individual to do whatever it is they want them to do. I don't have to shout at you.
Right.
I don't think.
I could intimidate you.
Yep.
Another thing that the emotional groomers use is bribery. They bribe your children. And again, we're saying this in context. We're saying that if you do not create the environment at home for your children to understand these things, for your children to feel comfortable communicating these things with you,